Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Thursday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from theuptrend.com. In the pre-market this morning, stock index futures and commodities are currently slightly above fair value. We are coming into the jobless claims numbers coming out at 8:30 this morning, and that could certainly change the direction of the market. And then later in the morning, we have energy inventories. They usually come out on Wednesday, but this is a holiday-shortened week. Now, things really settled down on Wednesday. The VIX did close slightly higher. The S&P 500 closed slightly lower. That was also true for the NASDAQ and the NASDAQ 100, and it was also true for the Russell 2000, which closed slightly lower on the day. So things really settled down on Wednesday. Certainly no indication of a change in trend, but when we go across the different areas of the market, you'll see that things really settled down. Now, talk about settling down. The Bank of Canada lowered interest rates in Canada, and the iShares for the TSX 60 closed unchanged on the day, even though commodity prices continued to pull down commodity stocks. Looking at currencies, the Canadian dollar moved up, the euro moved up, and the US dollar index moved down on Wednesday, so things settling back down. We also saw things settle down in the bond market. Money came back into the 30-year bond, and bond yields moved down on the day. So currencies, bonds moving back to where they were before the big down move in the stock market. Looking at commodities themselves, we have copper on a sell signal, copper miners on a sell signal. First Quantum made a new low for this move on Wednesday. Then looking at the GLD, it is still on a buy signal, and it is moving up in the pre-market this morning. Unfortunately, gold stocks going in the other direction with the GLD and the XGD making new lows for this move. There's Barrick making a new low. Newmont, on the other hand, is still holding up. It is still on a buy signal. Things would change on Thursday with a close below $51.37. Then looking at palladium, back on a sell signal, joining platinum already on a sell signal. And then if you look at the metals and mining stocks on both sides of the border, they were down on the day. Then looking at the price of silver, the SLV moved up on the day while silver miners continued to move lower. And there's Pan American Silver. Didn't take out the previous day's low, but did close lower on the day. Looking at the energy sector, crude oil moved down on Wednesday. We had energy stocks on both sides of the border continued to move lower. And there's Marathon Oil and Suncor both making new lows for this move on Wednesday. Looking at gasoline, it continued to move lower, which is great for consumers. There are no real pure play gasoline stocks out there. There's Chevron moving down on the day. That's also true for natural gas. Most of these companies are, quite diversified with oil and natural gas. And so natural gas closed slightly lower on the day yesterday. There's Southwestern Energy closing down on the day as well. Let's finish off looking at the Magnificent Eight, and we do have one trend change from Wednesday's trading action. The ETF was up 0.25% on the day. There's Apple still on a sell signal. Amazon sitting right on the edge of a new daily sell signal. It popped the other day and has come back down. So it closed below $173.01. Would give us a sell signal on Thursday. Then looking at Alphabet, still on a sell signal here, no change there. No change for Meta, no change for Microsoft. And then NVIDIA continued to move lower on Wednesday. I read that on Tuesday, that was the biggest stock loss in history, taking into account how big NVIDIA is and how much the drop was. So that was a historic day for the stock markets on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we continued to move lower. Then looking at Shopify on both sides of the border, still continuing to move lower on Wednesday. And then the surprise of the day, and we noted that, on Tuesday, Tesla traded above the upper channel line, but did not hold those gains. And here we came back on Wednesday. We are back on a buy signal as of Wednesday's close. So 203.13 acted as support, 218.75. We closed just a nudge above that, and then you can see 234.38 and 250. Those are the next two targets to the upside for Tesla if it's going to keep going from here. The first sign something new is happening, of course, if we take out the high from a couple of weeks ago. And if this is the low, well, that's a higher low, so that could turn out to be bullish for Tesla going forward. And last up this morning, looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, both closing higher on the day, but certainly no change in trend for either of those cryptocurrencies. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. I'm getting this out before those jobless claims come out at 8:30, and they could certainly change the mood of the market. Enjoy the rest of your day. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Friday morning.